So if I had to start again getting in shape in my 40s and above, this is exactly what I'd do. So if I lost all my muscle, gained a load of fat, completely stopped training, all that kind of stuff, in my 40s like I am, and needed to start again, this is exactly the kind of approach I would take. First off, I wouldn't be doing what the majority of influencers on Instagram are telling you to do, because they're not like you and they're not like me. Just do the basic shit that actually works. Because having been a PT and online coach for 10, 12 years, probably even longer, I know that the vast majority of people seriously overcomplicate this kind of stuff. So starting off, here are some of the things I definitely wouldn't do. Cutting out carbohydrates, cutting carbs, right? Absolutely not. I'm not saying they wouldn't get reduced if I was trying to reduce my calories, because naturally they probably would be. You know, I probably wouldn't eat as much porridge as I do now. I wouldn't eat as much bread as I do now, or pasta, purely to reduce my calories, not because, you know, reducing my carbohydrate intake is going to have a detrimental effect on my fat loss. I still need the carbohydrates to fuel my training sessions and stuff like that. And I like carbs. Simple as that. I wouldn't be training 6 days a week, 7 days a week, anything like that. I wouldn't be going crazy. If I'd fallen out of training in the gym, I'd probably be starting off with 3 days a week. I think I would find what I can comfortably commit to. So if, like yourself, if you're not, you know, you haven't trained for quite some time, if you've never trained, don't think you have to get in the gym like 6, 7 days a week. You absolutely don't. If you can get in the gym 2 or 3 times a week, especially if you never train or you haven't trained for quite some time, that's going to make a massive difference to your activity levels and to your strength gains, and starting to help you build muscle and over months to come and things like that. So, you know, don't be thinking you have to like practically live in the gym, because believe me, you do not at all. I wouldn't be doing any crazy stuff like 5 a.m. ice baths, cold showers, all that kind of stuff. That's just me personally. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. But again, I feel that for a lot of people, they're quite extreme things to do. And it does nothing, none of it needs to be extreme. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there that have got a significant amount of weight to lose, and things like that. But choosing to do extreme ways to achieve that, or, you know, taking part in extreme activities. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's far more extreme things, but what I'm saying is that, like, there's no need to be getting in a frigging freezing cold tub of water or ice or whatever. This is the big one, right? I would not be trying to be 100% perfect and, you know, on the frigging money with everything, right? You've got to leave a little bit of room for error. So like aim to be sort of like 90 to 95% on the money, maybe. You know, if you're striving for 100% all the time, then any time that you cock it up a bit, or something gets in the way, like you can't get to one of your gym workouts because, you know, you have like a bit of an emergency at home, or you fall ill, one of your family gets ill, so you've got to take care of them. If you're trying to be 100% and hitting everything perfectly, that's going to feel like a major derailment of your progress. You know, it's going to feel like you've cocked up big time. It's going to make you feel like you're making a mess of everything. You're not doing everything as you should be. So yeah, don't strive for 100% perfection. It's unrealistic. And another big one: do not rely on motivation. Fucking hell, the whole motivation thing. I'll be honest with you. Again, I've done this for years now with people. The motivation thing kind of like makes my fucking toes curl at times. I'm just like, who the fuck is motivated for more than a week or so? It's not about motivation. Yeah, you have that bit of motivation when you sign up for something. You sign up for like a fat loss program, or, you know, you're training for some sort of event or whatever, right? You've got that motivation. Yes, motivation does exist, but it soon disappears. What keeps you going is discipline and putting the things in place that are going to keep you showing up each day, whether it's things like making sure the simple stuff, like when you get up first thing in the morning, excuse me, make sure you've been to the loo, hop on the scales every day so you can monitor your weight every day. Then you drink your pint of water, or however much water you want to drink. Then you make your coffee. That's discipline. Doing that every single day. It's like brushing your teeth is a perfect example. You don't do that because you're motivated to do it. You've got the discipline to do it every day. Although some of you probably might not, you know. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who don't fucking brush their teeth every day. And if you don't, sort it out. But Joking aside, that's true. We do not brush our teeth every day because we're motivated to do it. We do it because we're disciplined. We do it because we know we need to do it. Yeah, motivation. Fuck off. So here are some of the things that I absolutely would do. Me personally, I would be lifting 3 to 4 times a week. I would probably be going for a full body approach. That's just my personal preference. There's kind of no right and wrong. If you want to do body split type workouts where it's chest one day, back another day, legs another day, arms another day, that's fine, that's cool. But you just got to make sure you can commit to doing enough sessions a week to cover all those body parts. Whereas I can't commit to doing that. So I go for, at the moment, I'm training 4 times a week. But again, if I was starting from scratch, I'd be aiming for that 3 to 4 so that I can at least do, an upper body one day, a lower another day, then an upper body, then a lower. Or I could do a push, pull, something like that. That's the approach I would be taking personally. And while lifting, I would be aiming to train close to failure, because just going in the gym and fanning about with your reps and just like finishing all your sets with hardly breaking a sweat, no muscle fatigue whatsoever, isn't going to get you very far. It's not going to make a great deal of change to you. I'd be keeping my meals as simple and high protein as I can. I would be probably eating pretty much the same breakfast every day if I was having breakfast. But I would probably be eating the same thing every single day just to keep it simple and not give myself too many options and give myself like decision fatigue or anything like that. Same with my dinners or lunch, depending where you're from. I call it dinner. That's sort of like middle of the day food. Dinner where I'm from. I'd be eating probably the same thing every day, pretty much anyway. And when it comes to tea or dinner, you may call it, then I would probably be having something different just to give me that little bit more to look forward to. But again, I would probably be keeping it to 2 or 3 meals that I'd just keep rotating, rotating across the week. I would be smashing the living piss out of steps. I would be getting at least 10,000 a day. I would be making sure that was a non-negotiable. If I, for any reason, couldn't get out to do those steps, I would be using a treadmill or a walking pad or whatever, any way I could find to get those steps done. But 10,000, I think, would just be my base minimum I would be trying to achieve, just to keep my activity high. Not for any reason that this 10,000 is like a fancy number or anything. It's just I know that's a good level of activity, and I would be making sure that I'm trying to get above that, just to keep my activity levels nice and high. And if any days I didn't hit 10,000, I'd be making up for it across the week. So, going for a minimum of 70,000 a week, so averaging out at 10,000 a day, something like that. And the sleep is a huge one. I'd be, you sleep like it matters, or you should be sleeping like it matters. It shouldn't be some last minute thought of cast aside thing. It's like, get your frigging, 7 to 9 hours or whatever. I'm not going to put an exact number on it, but excuse me, if your sleep is all broken up because you're stimulating your frigging mind just before bed because you can't put your phone down for that 30 to 60 minutes before you go to bed, or you're watching TV in bed or whatever, it's not for me to tell you whether you should or shouldn't be doing that. But personally, I believe having your bedroom just for the purposes it should be for, sleeping and other stuff. But watching TVs, no, that's just me. I try and keep the bedroom, our bedroom, as just for those 2 things. And getting dressed in, of course, in the morning or whatever. So sleep, it's massively underrated. Improving your sleep hygiene, a lot of people will call it, is like having a bit of a routine before bed. So not just deciding to go to bed when you fall asleep on the couch, setting a time, whether that be 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever it is, going upstairs and doing your routine. If you have, you brush your teeth, some people might have a skincare routine or whatever, People like to journal before bed, maybe even start doing things like that. Just write shit down, get things off your mind before bed. I'm not saying I do that, but I know people that do. And it helps them, Everybody's different again. But sleep like it frigging matters, because it does. Track your progress properly. This is a huge one. Or I'd be tracking my progress properly. So as I mentioned a few minutes back, every morning I would be weighing myself. Get up, go to the loo, weigh myself straight away to get as accurate a reading as possible. Because if I'm trying to lose weight, it's no use weighing myself just once a week, because that one day could be the day I'm heavier because I've eaten that bit more volume of food the day before. It's not gone through my digestive system yet. I'm still in need of shit, things like, could be anything. So just that once a week is not going to cut it. Multiple times a week, every day would be ideal. But if for any reason you can't do that because you might work night shifts, so you're not here at home in the morning to weigh yourself or whatever, that's cool. But if you can get 3 or 4 across the week, maybe just to get yourself a bit of an average for the week, it's going to show you the peaks and troughs you'll go through in the week. And you'll even, at times, you'll be able to predict when you're going to be heavier, depending on sort of like the kind of food you've eaten the night before and, and things like that. I'd be taking photographs probably every couple of weeks, every 2 to 3 weeks, front, side and back, just to see if I'm looking any like leaner, if I look like I'm building muscle or whatever. It's not just about this number on the scale. It's about how you feel that you look in those pictures. I'll be taking measurements around places like my hips, my waist, my arms, thighs, places like that. Taking those measurements probably again every 2 to 3 weeks, roughly, something like that. I would be logging all my workouts. So if you don't have an app you can use, buy yourself a logbook. Get your workouts. There's tons of workouts available out there online. Which, by the way, if you want, comment under this. That's just reminded me. I do have like a free 4-week training program, which you can extend. You can do it for 8 weeks, 12 weeks. But I have a free 4-week training program. If you want it, just comment for free underneath, and I'll send it over to you. I'll get your details and send it to you. But yeah, logging your workouts, knowing exactly what you're lifting each week, and seeing if you're making that progress. Not necessarily every week, but every few weeks. You're not always going to lift heavier or more reps every week. So things like that. You've got to. If you're not measuring it, you can't manage it. You're just guessing and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So, and what you've got to be realistic about is that this is not going to be fast. If you're in your 40s, your 50s even, or older, our bodies don't necessarily respond as well or as quickly as they used to. You've got to accept this is probably going to take longer than you'd like it to. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? Trust me, if you get started and just frigging start now, I know that I could get myself having a noticeable difference within about 10 to 12 weeks, maybe not even that long. But I know within 6 months, I would say, I'm confident I'd be able to get back to looking like I'd lift a bit, maybe filling out a t-shirt a bit and things like that. And, just feeling like I look strong-ish for someone of my size anyway, or weight or whatever. So yes, that's pretty much it regarding that. Don't overcomplicate shit. That's the biggest thing, I think. So overcomplicating it is a surefire way to fail, basically. People tend to fail because they don't stick to the boring stuff for long enough. Whether it's the food, the weighing yourself every day, there's drinking tons of water, make sure you hit your protein target, lifting 3 to 4 times a week, or however many times you can commit to, getting your steps in every day. That's as much as I love going to the gym, it is still monotonous at times, but sticking with that quote unquote boring stuff is what's going to get you results. So that's pretty much it. Nothing sexy, just simple, effective stuff. So like I said, if you do want to grab that free 4-week training program, just comment for free. I'll send it over to you. And obviously, I'm going to keep trying to drop these videos about training and getting in shape in your 40s and above and stuff like that. So if it'd be great if you'd follow along. So drop us a follow, subscribe, whatever it is on YouTube. Drop us a comment as well to let me know your thoughts. If you've got any questions, I'll do my best to answer your question. So that's pretty much it. I'll see you in a bit.